When I look back on my own training journey, why I was able to progress so much faster than anybody else can be attributed to many reasons. Constantly learning from various industry experts, inadvertently avoiding mistakes, practicing recommendations by pure luck, testing the unconventional method, and creating my very own system. Obviously, implementing the appropriate training split is one of the most important reasons out of all reasons. Not only it directly regulates how I would schedule my training program, but also it reflects how my training philosophy has evolved over time. And today, I'm going to provide a detailed breakdown of my own split choices along the way, and tell you the reason behind my choices so you can use it as your own reference and fast track your own progress. Welcome to Fast Track Gains. I'm here to help you accelerate your gains. This is the 6th episode of my 6th series, Training Splits. One thing I keep repeatedly emphasizing in my previous videos is sequence. As I said in my 2nd series, Hacking into the Ultimate Hypertrophy Code, the Ultimate Hypertrophy Code is never made of pure hard work and dedication alone. It is a sequence of many layers of many components. And out of so many components, the training split selections, just like training equipment selections, is perhaps one of the few components that sequence has the most impact on. Yes, you can build muscle by only doing free weights, or only using cables, or only using machines. But in order to achieve the best results, it is best for someone to follow the sequence of using free weight compounds to build a real foundation at the beginner phase and gradually transition to cables to bridge between free weights and machines at intermediate phase, and orientate around cables and machines to drive up the training volume at advanced phase. By the same token, although in essence all splits serve the same purpose, how to manage and distribute the training volume in a smart, sensible, and sustainable way, there's still a sequence of choosing the appropriate split at each training phase if you want to achieve the best results. So what split did I use for my beginner training? Well, funny enough, at first, I was not using any structured split when I first started. Some days I would do banded pull-ups only. Some days I would do farmer's walks only. Some days I would do deadlift and shoulder press. Some days I would do barbell curls and dips. Some days I would do dumbbell squat and some other exercises. And if I had to describe it, my split was a mixture of broad split and upper and lower split, but honestly, it was a nobody split, and that is to be expected. Because as a beginner, you're absorbing and trying everything. What split you are using really does not matter so much. What matters most is if the training is fun enough for you to carry on. As the biggest challenge for every beginner in the first 3 months is not learning proper biomechanics or learning how to train hard, but just building up the habit of consistent training. Therefore, provided you cover your whole body in a week, no skipping leg days, it is important to ensure that you have the liberty to just enjoy your training in every single session and not worry about which split you are using. And that is my recommendation on the first half of beginner training. After the first 3 months of settling in, the next 3 months of beginner training will be critical for you. Now is the best time for you to learn proper biomechanics and start to progress on some compound movements. That's why later at my beginner phase, although I was still using a nobody split, my exercise selections had become fairly fixed. Pull-ups, dips, barbell back squat, barbell deadlift. To be honest, as beginners can make great progress with low volume and low intensity training. As long as you can master and make some decent progress on all the basic compound movements, any structured or non-structured split can all work for you. But overall, an upper and a lower split with bodyweight exercise focus will be my recommendation for second half of beginner training. However, the only reason that this kind of careless approach can work is because of your sweet newbie gains. Once your sweet newbie gains are gone, there are 3 elements you must consider when choosing the split. And just like you have to make trade-offs between good, cheap, and fast in product development, you must make trade-offs between these three elements as well: training economy, training intensity, and training frequency. Number one, training intensity. This is like the element of good or quality in product development. How hard can I push myself in one single session to ensure that this is truly a quality training session? In order to drive up the intensity, you cannot spread your attention. You have to laser focus on certain muscle groups. And that means full body is the worst choice because your focus is widely spread across your whole body. Bro split is best choice because you can really just concentrate on one body part. Number two, training economy. This is like the element of cheap in product development. When something is cheap, it can be mass-produced. In terms of training, that means covering as many muscle groups as possible. And that means full body is the best choice, and bro split is the worst choice. And here, I have to mention the lower body again. As almost 70% of your total muscle mass is in your lower body, every time you don't train your lower body, you significantly decrease your training economy. Number three, training frequency. This is like the element of fast in product development. How quickly can you repeat the split? This will really depend on your recovery and, more specifically, how quickly can your legs recover from a hard training session. Personally, if I go all out on a leg day, it would take at least 5 days for my legs, particularly my quads, to properly recover and be ready for the next training session. If you want to drive up the training intensity and training economy, then you have to decrease your training frequency because every session will be hardcore and long-lasting, which will definitely overdraw your recovery. If you want to drive up training economy and training frequency, then you have to decrease your training intensity because you're training too many muscle groups too frequently, and nobody can guarantee quality on this scale. If you want to drive up the training intensity and training frequency, then you have to decrease your training economy because this kind of approach leaves no room for you to train any other muscle groups once you are done with the muscle group that you are super focused on. You see, you cannot have all three of them. Compromises have to be made in the correct sequence to suit different training requirements of different training phases. Okay, enough terminologies. Back to intermediate training. Which elements do you need to drive up out of all three? Well, unfortunately, you want to drive all three elements up as an intermediate. You need to increase your training intensity by adding more weight to the bar. You need to increase your training economy by covering more muscles in every session. And you need to increase your training frequency as long as your recovery can catch up. Because of that, you want a split that is medium intensity, medium economy, and medium frequency. And there is one split that does just that: push-pull legs. By emphasizing synergistic muscle groups on the same day, push-pull legs has a higher intensity than full body but lower intensity than bro split. By focusing on compound movements, push-pull legs has a higher economy than bro split but lower economy than full body. By running it once or twice a week, push-pull legs has a higher frequency than bro split but lower frequency than full body. As it is such a well-rounded, happy medium that caters to the demand of intermediate training so well, I have been a faithful push-pull legs follower throughout all my intermediate phase. That's why I call this split the intermediate foundation. And what will change once you become an advanced? Well, quite a few things, and they affect your choice of split in different ways. Number one, you have to ease up on intensity. By the time you are an advanced, you should already know what hard training really is And if you go balls to the wall all the time, you are not going to recover. Instead of still driving up the intensity, it's better for you to ease up on the intensity in order to preserve your recovery. Number 2, you have to maximize economy. If driving up economy is desirable at intermediate phase, it is the absolute number 1 priority at advanced phase. As you cannot keep pushing on intensity, your training economy has to be maximized as the main driver to increase the training volume. And that means more specifically that at advanced phase, you have to train your legs almost every time because they're 70% of your total muscle mass, and including them every time is the easiest way to really maximize your training economy. Number 3, you have to maintain your frequency. Most likely, you will hit your frequency plateau sometime later at your intermediate phase. For me, the most frequent split I ever used was push-pull, push-pull legs. And that was the highest frequency I could ever tolerate. When you're advanced, you need to figure out a way to still maintain your frequency and not blow your recovery budget. As you can see, when you are an advanced, you have almost exhausted the training intensity and training frequency potential. The only juice you can squeeze out a bit more is by including your legs in every training session to really boost your training economy, but not on a hardcore level that you cannot train them frequently enough. That's why in my last episode, I have come up with this version of full body split. Fully equipped commercial gym, and you use cables and machines as the bulk of your training selections. Do medium to lightweight with 12 to 20 plus reps, and run the split between 3 to 4 times a week. This version of full body split is a reflection of ease up on intensity, maximize economy, and maintain your frequency. And that's why I call this version the advanced destination. Alright, that is the official wrap-up of the training split series. I hope you can understand the logic of my analysis after watching this series and apply this logic to your own split choices. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will be happy to answer all your questions. That's it, guys. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.